In the last segment, we talked about generic array lists, and I'm going to show you something that's going to tie back to that eventually. But what I want to talk about first is interfaces, and you'll see a lot of interfaces in Android development. Now, I'm not sure if this is something you would cover in Java 1, which is why I want to go over here. And I'm just going to start by writing some code. I'm going to create a new project in Eclipse here. My mouse is acting funny. Sorry. Okay, file, new project, a Java project. And I'm just going to name it Java Interfaces. And hit finish here. And as usual, I'm going to create my app driver class, the class that has the main in it, the main method in it. So I'll right click on the source folder and do new class. I'll call it app driver. You can call it whatever you want. And I like to have Eclipse create the main method stub for me. So I click this checkbox and hit finish here. All right. Now I'm going to create two more classes here very quickly. I'm going to create one called a toaster. So we're going to simulate a toaster here. This is going to be the code that runs our toaster. So I'll right click and go new class, call it toaster, and then just hit finish right away. And then the other thing that I want to do is create a class called an air conditioner. So we're going to write a class that'll control our air conditioner too. So in the source directory, do new class, we'll call it air conditioner, and then hit finish. Okay, so these are the classes that we're going to start out with. And I'm just going to leave these blank right now. So the air conditioner and the toaster, we're going to leave them empty. Now what I want to do is create an interface, and an interface just allows you to say that whatever class uses that interface or implements the interface, it must provide code for the methods in the interface. Alright, so let's just go ahead and create the interface here. I'm going to right click on the default package and do new, and then here I can choose interface. So, and we're going to call this interface, it's going to be called powerable. Most interfaces, I think all interfaces end in ABLE. So when you see some code that where the file is runnable or throwable or ends in ABLE, then you know that it's an interface. So we're going to call this one powerable. And I think that's all we need to do. So I'll just type in the name and hit finish. Okay, so this is going to be an interface that we can apply to objects that can be turned on and off. They can be powered on and off. So what I'm going to do is create the methods here. Public, it's going to be void on. I think that's all I need to do here. And then the other method is going to be void off. Now notice this looks a little bit different because we don't have the curly braces here that would normally have all of our code in here. Well, for an interface, we don't define the code itself. We just say what methods the classes that implement this interface need to provide code for. So I'm just going to leave the interface as is right now. So we've just got an on method and an off method, and they both return nothing. They return void. So I'm going to save that. And now I'm going to go over to my toaster, and I'm going to say that it implements that powerable interface. So use the implements keyword here. Implements powerable. Alright, and you see that I'm getting an error now. So if I hover over the squiggly lines, it says the type toaster must implement the inherited abstract method powerable off. So what that means is I'm going to have to create a method that has a void return type, and it's got to be called, well, the error message said off, so we'll just start with that one. So, oops. And now what's it barking at here? Okay, I guess I'll make it public. Where's my mouse? There it is, flying around there. Okay. So I had to specify that it was a public method. And I'm not exactly sure why at the moment. I think it's because over here, well, over here it should have the same. Well, anyways, we'll look into that later. And for the code inside this method, I'm just going to do a system print line. System out dot print line. And the message that I'm going to put in there is going to be toaster is turning off. Alright, now I should still have another error here because I haven't implemented the other method of the interface. So it says type toaster must implement the inherited abstract method powerable on. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly create that too. So I'm going to go public void on, takes no parameters, and then just like we did up above, I'm going to do system out print line, and then toaster is turning on. Alright, now I shouldn't have any more errors after this. Alright, so just to kind of reiterate, as soon as we said that this class implements the powerable interface, we got some compile errors. And they said, you've got this class that says it implements the methods in the powerable interface, but you didn't write the code for them yet. So once we actually wrote the code for those methods, then everything was fine, no errors. So when we implement an interface, we are obliged to provide code for all of the methods that the interface specifies. And if we go back to our interface here, we specify an on and an off method. Let's do the same thing for the air conditioner. So first we have to say that we're implementing the powerable interface, and then get our errors. I'll just quickly put that code in here. Oops, fumbled a little bit. Public void on. Then we'll do a system out print line, and then AC is turning on. And then I'm going to do a cut and paste right here, and you always have to be careful when you cut and paste code because you could introduce some bugs that might be hard to spot. But I'm just going to copy this code, and then I have to be careful to make some adjustments. So I'm going to turn this to make this be the off method, and then I got to make sure that I change our output here to off. Alright, that should do it. I'm going to save everything here. Save my toaster. And now I'm going to go over to the app driver here, the main method. And I want to show you, now I'm going to tie this back to what we were talking about with the generic array lists here. Now, in the last segment when we were talking about array lists, I told you that when you use a generic array list, the compiler won't let you add objects that aren't of that type. So let me ask you this. Can I create an array list that's a generic array list that's typed, that allows me to put both a toaster and an air conditioner in it? And the answer is yes, you can, as long as the toaster and the air conditioner implement the same interface. Well, there's other ways you could do it too. If the toaster was a subclass of an air conditioner, or if both the toaster and the air conditioner were subclasses of the same superclass, then we could create an array list that's typed as a superclass, and then we'd have no problem putting those two objects in the same array list. So, for example, if we created a subclass, or a base class, I'm sorry, called electrical device, and then we made toaster a subclass of it and air conditioner a subclass of it as well, then we could create an array list that was typed as electrical device, and we could stick both of them in there. But that's not how we have our code set up right now. Right now we can just say, a toaster is different in every way from an air conditioner, except for the fact that they both run on electricity. And when you're working with electricity, you can turn the switch on or off. That's the one thing that the two classes have in common. So I'm going to create an array list here, and I'm going to data type it as Powerable, as the interface itself. Go new, whoops, my devices, that's what I'll name the array list, equals new array list. My dog's barking at something. And I need to import the array list, so I can either do Control-Shift-O, or I can highlight, hover over it, and then choose Import Array List, and then you can see that Eclipse imported it for me here. Hang on a second, I'm going to pause this until my dog mellows out. You done? Maybe he's done. Okay. So now, even though a toaster and an air conditioner are different objects, they don't share the same base class, or we didn't create a base class that they share. I guess in reality they both stem from the object class like everything else. So if I wanted to, I could make the data type object here, but that's not very useful to us because it's so generic that you could actually probably run into problems if you used object here. But the one thing they do have in common is they both implement the Powerable interface. So we can stick them in an array list together. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a toaster here. I'm going to go toaster T equals new toaster. And I'm going to do air conditioner AC equals new air conditioner. I spelled that wrong. Okay, and now because they're both Powerable, I can stick them both in my array list. So I'll go my devices add T, our toaster. Oops, Lilo. And I'll do my devices add AC. And now, whoops, the IntelliSense is a little too smart for me here. Keeps wanting to do add all instead of add. I want I have problems here with the mouse, and my dog's barking. Issues, got lots of issues here. Okay, so now I can I'm going to loop through that array list. This is going to be an enhanced for loop, which I think you know about already. So I'm going to do for Powerable, because that's the data type we're dealing with here. P in my You should have seen this type of for loop in Java 1. I hope you have. So this is a little bit different than the one we used in the last segment. And now I know that, well, let's see here. I know that everything in the array list is a powerable item. And I know that powerable items have on and off. So I can go p.on, and then I'll go p.off. All right. Let me just run this real quick here. I'm going to save it and then hit the run button here. And you can see the output here. So what interfaces allow us to do here is we can take different items, different types of objects. A toaster is not much like an air conditioner, other than the fact that they both run on an electrical current, and you can turn them on and off. So if we know that our items implement an interface, then we can put them in an array list together, and we know that because they're all powerable objects, that they're going to have an on and an off method. Now, what's the reason for this? Well, an air conditioner might have a totally different implementation in its code for how to turn it on. A toaster, you press the switch, so you'd write some code that would be, push the switch down, but an air conditioner may turn on in a different way. It may not be the same, but all we care about is that we know that in our code here in our AppDriver class that we can call on and off on these objects, and the different implementations of those methods will take care of the work for us. So when I say that the implementation, right here is the implementation for the off method of the toaster. So there would be other code here that would, do what a toaster does to turn itself off in this case. And an air conditioner would have different code inside of its off method too. So the way it's done internally could be very different from a toaster to an air conditioner, but we don't care about that. All we care about is that we know that we can call on and off on these. All right, I wanted to show you this because this is going to come into play for your Java data tracker review project. All right, that's enough of that.